So this is my short towing test. I see a lot of reviewers out there towing with vehicles for relatively short distances, everywhere from about 50 to 100 miles. I'm going to do a little bit shorter than that. I'm only going to go 30 miles because it really wasn't my intent, but I was filling up as I left the place where I store my RV, and I was taking it home. Ended up being a trip of about 30 miles, going about 55 to 60 up and down hills. I know people like to compare that number. I don't generally tow across country at that number. I do tow across country frequently. Let's take a look and see how this truck performs in that type of a situation. So we're going to see, we're at 97,614. We're going to do an actual MPGs on this at about 55 to 60 towing my Lance travel trailer. It's a 1995. I've done lots of towing with it. It tows the same as my 2375 that I just sold. We're going to review what this truck is capable of on MPGs when towing 55 to 60 and up and down hills a little. Now you can see I'm averaging about 56 miles per hour. I'm just a little over 60 now. I've been pretty consistent between 55 and 60. And we're on our way home. About 25-ish miles to get home. We'll see exactly what it is when we get there, but we'll give you a low towing rate on my travel trailer, which is I believe it's about 4,600 pounds, 4,700 pounds dry weight, and I actually think it's 4,650, and it's got a 6,000 gross vehicle weight rating. It's got all my stuff inside, but none of the tanks are full, so we're probably hovering right around 5,500 pounds today. And I found that this Lance trailer, which is a 1995, tows almost identical to my 2375. They have 1,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating difference, and the 2375, why, it's got the same exact shape as the 1995. So the miles per gallon tend to be within about 1.5 when I tow with it. Sometimes it's even closer than that, and I can't tell the difference pulling them between which one is back there with this Tundra. Now, one of the things you see up here ahead is that I am going up and down hills quite a bit where I live. And one of the other things you'll see up there ahead is that why we do have a couple traffic lights and a couple stop signs on our way homes, although all our roadways are pretty much 55 to 60 on the way home. And we're getting pretty close to being about halfway here, coming to our first intersection with a stop. So I've decided to take a little bit of an alternate route home here. This alternate route is a little bit longer, but it'll give us a better estimate on our MPGs. The other thing it'll do is, you can see we are still going up and down hills. I do tend to get, with towing my travel trailers, between about 9 and 11, and I say between 9 and 11, it's really between about 8.5 and 11.5, but it depends on which direction I'm going. If I'm traveling east to west, I tend to do about 1.5 to 2 miles per gallon worse than I do traveling west to east, especially if it's windy outside. If I'm traveling in the eastern half of the country, east of the Mississippi, I tend to do a little bit worse than I do out west. Again, I pick up a couple miles per gallon out west typically. I know a lot of people think that it's contrary to what you might expect. It's not really contrary to what you might expect. East, there's a lot of hilly area, so it's a lot of up and down like we're doing right now on the interstate, and I typically travel at about 70 to 75 miles per hour. Out west, you get some big mountains, but you also get long stretches that are very, very flat, and so I tend to do better out west, even with the mountains, than I do traveling in the eastern half of the country. So we've been towing for a little over 20 miles in about 23 minutes now, of course, because we had a startup getting out of the gas station, and then we had a stop that we had where we had about 4 cars in front of us at the stop sign. And if we look over here, what we see is my transmission temp is holding very steady, about 210. Usually I run between 206 and 2012. And when it gets real hot, I rarely approach 220 in my Tundra. Of course, I've got the 2018 that's got the stock auxiliary transmission cooler. And of course, we are going up and down hills right now. And as you can see, still holding steady right at that 210. I'm going to show you, because we're getting pretty close to our destination, that what you can see there is that we're at 26.2 miles per gallon, 29 minutes, and why we've been averaging 55 miles per hour for our trip. Like I said, I've been doing mostly between 55 and 60. I'm a little slower right now because there's some slower vehicles up ahead of me, but we're getting close to our stopping destination point where we fuel up. And I just wanted to show you that. that because we're going to come to a couple stops here first, so that average miles per hour is going to go down a little bit. But with stops and starts, I think you can safely say that we average 55 to 60 on this stop. Getting ready to fill up with gas, I had to just take a phone call for my wife, delayed us just a little bit, and of course, like I said, there was a stoplight. But you can see, there's what it says, 30.4 miles per traveled, 10.1 gallons on the computer. Let's go ahead and fill up and see what we really got. So unlike some, I'm not afraid to take my travel trailer to the fuel station and fill up, but just a little dig there, a little friendly dig. We got 2.688 gallons is what it took, and we went 30.4 miles. Let's see. That's actually 11.3 gallons of gasoline towing up and down hills at 55 to 60 miles per hour. That's right in the heart of what I get with this vehicle, towing that Lance travel trailer. 1995, 2375, doesn't matter if I'm going that slow, eastern half of the country, I'm right around 11.5 gallons per mile. 55 to 60, less than 100 miles, never really towing test to me. You need to go at least halfway across the country, and I'm going to do that in just over 48 hours. I'm going to go from eastern Georgia all the way out to Los Angeles, and I'm going to show you how I did on that trip. So stay tuned and watch out for that video. Thank you for watching, and please hit like and subscribe if you made it this far.